everyone, my name is Pelita. I'm from class 7B and today I'm gonna tell you a Christmas story called Little Match Girl. It was a cold and snowy Christmas Eve. The people were passing by with their warm coats, gloves, and scarves. They were all in a rush to go somewhere to celebrate Christmas. Children were running around the streets, throwing snowballs at each other, playing and laughing. But on the street, there was a little girl, different from the ones that were playing. This little girl was standing in the middle of the street, watching the other kids play. She did not have a hat to protect her from cold like the others. Her clothes were light and red. The slippers on her feet didn't fit her. They were big. She was holding a box in her hands, shivering from the freezing cold. The girl barely noticed that there was a car coming right on her. The girl ran towards the sidewalk, but while she was running, the huge slippers on her feet flew off. Having no choice, she walked barefoot. She sought shelter next to a wall. She opened the box that she had been holding. The box was full of matches. She couldn't even sell one box of matches that day. If she could make a sale and earn money, she could go home and at least have a bowl of soup with her mother. So she started yelling with her thin shivering voice, "Matches anyone? Matches!" But unfortunately, nobody on the street paid attention to her. So she sat next to a wall. Her fingers started to ache from the cold. She couldn't bear the pain anymore. If I lit up a single match, maybe it would make it a little warm. She opened the box, pulled out a little match, and lit it up. And suddenly, a warm light surrounded her. She stared at the fire and started dreaming. She was sitting in front of a big stove in a beautiful room. She had a warm sweater, furry boots on her feet, and a beanie on her head. It was so hot she began to sweat. But suddenly, the match went out. So the dream vanished. Once again, she lit up another match. While she was looking at it, the wall that was in front of her suddenly vanished and opened up. There was a big room inside. There were all sorts of food spread on a table with a white cloth, and the silver candlesticks on the table lit up the room like daylight. There was a beautifully grilled piece of meat on the table. She immediately ripped a piece of it and put it in her mouth. And suddenly, she didn't feel hungry anymore. The little match girl wanted to take more piece of meat. She reached out, but the match she had on her hand went out pretty fast. The feast on the table and the room all vanished. Her hand was burned, and she threw the match away. But then, she lit up another match. But now, she's sitting under a tree on a summer night, looking at the stars above. The little girl could not take her eyes off the stars. She never saw the sky and the stars so clearly sparkling before. And suddenly, she saw shooting stars. She remembered that her grandmother said if there was a shooting star, that means someone is dying. One more time, she lit up another match and started dreaming once again. Suddenly, she felt like she was seeing her grandmother and hearing her voice too. She didn't want this moment to finish, so she lit up the final match in a hurry. Her grandmother appeared in front of her. "Grandmother, I miss you so much. Where have you been?" said that girl in tears. "Oh, darling, I miss you too." "Grandma, could you please take me to your place, please?" Grandmother reached out her arms to hold the little girl's hand. They both started to fly up to the sky together. She was so happy. She felt sudden relief that there was no longer cold or hunger. "Grandmother, where are we going?" asked that little girl. "Somewhere up there." In the morning, people who passed by on the street saw that little girl laying down by the wall. Her eyes are closed, but with a smile on her face. She had a lot of burnt matches around her. Everyone regretted the girl's death. Those who refused to buy matches last night felt so bad for that girl. The townspeople held the girl's funeral in a church and prayed to God that they will be kind even to the poor. Thank you so much for listening and hope you enjoyed.